Now, it is certainly not easy being a Scale 500 collector these days, with Herpa still being our only option for the moment, and the last few reviews really did show that Herpa struggles to deliver anything acceptable. But surely it cannot be like this every time. So how about this time? Is it a good or a bad model? That is what we want to find out. And we can do so thanks to our great partner here on the channel, Jumbolino Model, who don't just have fair prices and great service, but genuinely understand what it is being like a collector, because they collect themselves. And this is also why I wholeheartedly can recommend them to you. And you can find a link to them in the video description below. With that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at an Airbus A220-300 of Croatia Airlines. And at the front of the box we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and on top of the box we have the Croatia Airlines branding. The back side of the box, another cutout. Unfortunately, it is the Herpa Wings standard box design, which really I don't have much positive to say about or at all. So let's just skip ahead and look at the model itself. And here she is, the Airbus A220-300 in the current or new standard livery of Croatia Airlines. They, of course, a few years, slightly updated the livery. The main change was really removing the blue underbelly. But yeah, this is what the airline is featuring on their airlines nowadays. And the A220, of course, being fairly new in the fleet. Now we finally have one of those in Scale 500 made by Herpa Wings. So how have they done with this little A220? That is what we want to find out in today's review, starting off with a look at the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer, and then going onwards towards the fuselage, we have the Croatia Airlines branding, we could say, color scheme. The squares, of course, heavily inspired by the Croatian flag. And the Croatian flag, alongside the flag of the European Union and the full registration code, well, that is what we find on the fuselage. Towards the very tail of the aircraft, we then also have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. On top of the fuselage, we then find a set dome, and here we can take a look at the real aircraft landing at London Heathrow. And while we really don't have a top-down view of the aircraft, we can clearly see that yes, there is a set dome. However, it doesn't look nearly as large as the set dome we find on this aircraft model. Unfortunately, once again, an inconsistency with set domes when it comes to Herpa Wings. Now, if we move on to the front of the aircraft, we can see across the fuselage the writing of Croatia. We again have the Croatia Airlines branding or color scheme. Underneath the cabin windows, we then find the name of the aircraft. This aircraft is named after the Croatian city of Zagreb, and we have the aircraft type specification. Next to the front cabin door, we then also find a Star Alliance logo, of which the airline is a full member. Then we can move on to the cockpit section itself. On the A220 of Herpa Wings, we do have the cockpit windows with the metallic edges, the window wipers, and above that, the emergency hatch for the cockpit. That in itself is fairly nice. The shape of the nose with Herpa Wings on the A220 is, however, very inconsistent, so this is something you need to be aware of before buying these models. The engine nacelles have then been kept in all white, just as most of the fuselage, but do have the silver leading edge printed on, as well as the safety markings. The physical detailing of the engines, I think, especially considering the size of the aircraft model, is fairly nice, especially here from the front, where we very nicely can see the engine fan blades. And on the fuselage, just above the wings, we then find the emergency exit has been printed on, leading us straight on to the wings, which we should also take a closer look at, starting off with the top side, where we have the different flap slats and spoilers carved out very nicely, and we also have the markings for the emergency exit printed on. The underside of the wings has more nice physical detailing, including the full registration code of the aircraft, and the A220, of course, has winglets, where we again find the Croatia Airlines color scheme or branding has been printed on, looking very nice. The landing gear on this A220 is the standard landing gear that Herpa uses for all their A220 aircraft models in Scale 500, the main landing gear looking fine, the front landing gear unfortunately being massively oversized, and I don't understand why they can't change that. And we of course also don't have any printed details here. On the belly of the aircraft we do have a hole in the fuselage for a stand that is not included with this aircraft model, but at least it doesn't destroy any printed details, given that there are no printed details. But we can note the ram air intakes as a physical detailing. And while that might not be much detailing here on the belly, at least it is something. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back of the aircraft and here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Airbus A220-300 in the current or new standard livery of Croatia Airlines from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? I mean, at this point it is almost a relief that we don't have a complete disaster here in front of us and actually have a model that, despite some weaknesses, overall is in a state where it is defendable that it is being sold, unlike the last two models that I reviewed, the Qatar Airways Dreamliner and the Maersk Air Cargo 777. But what about this actual model? As I say, it does have some weaknesses. Unfortunately, Herpa Wings is fairly inconsistent with the nose shape, so the cockpit shape of the A220, which makes it a little fun to place A220 models next to each other because they often look quite different. So you have to take a look at this model and make up your own mind if you can live with it as it is here. Then, of course, we have the oversized sat dome. That's also definitely not ideal, but also something that we see across pretty much all of Herpa Wings models nowadays. The oversized front landing gear of the A220 is also something we unfortunately just have to live with, it seems, because Herpa has been making these models for many years now, and they don't seem to be changing this detail, even though it really does not look great. But apart from that, and I mean, yeah, it is quite a bit, but considering what Herpa delivers nowadays, I guess this is already progress. We have a fairly nice looking aircraft model. Whether you like the new Croatia Airlines livery or not is, of course, again down to personal taste. I mean, I do like the squares. That's a bit different than what we see with other airliners, but I'm still thinking this livery has too much white. I really missed the blue underbelly, but again, this is just personal taste. What is great is to see the latest Croatia Airlines aircraft featured in scale 500, because Croatia Airlines is an airline that we see across many cities around Europe, so it is just nice to have this in scale 500. But what are your thoughts on the A220 of Herpa Wings? Is the scale 500 interpretation of Herpa for the A220 something that you can live with, or does it have too many features that just don't really match what the reality shows us? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and what are your thoughts on the Croatia Airlines livery? Are you like me saying, oh, the blue underbelly, that was quite nice, or are you happy with it? Let me know in the comment section below. And with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like. If you're new around here, why not hit subscribe? And with that, thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.